Sumahati Muni Shahasane Kama Uttavadanye Sri Bhadra Vasamahanya Sawasidi Hu Pakya Kekuda Dagilu Pakya Kesunda Dagina Pakya Ketuda Dagi Danyamechitu Jingilo Makya Kekuda Dagilu Makya Kesunda Dagina Makya Ketuda Dagi Danyamechitu Jingilo Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakya Muni Soha Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakya Muni Soha Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakya Muni Soha. Is Alexandra or is Luciana? Are you there? Okay, there's Luciana. Thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate a lot. But our translators who are excellent. Thank you, Luciana, Alexandra, Maria Cristina, etc. Nune. Thank you. Okay, so before lunch, some people are asking questions, so if you want to ask them again, now we can discuss them in public without obviously referring to the precise person or situation. In a generic way, we can discuss if you like, yeah? Thank you. Oh, thank you. One of the best inventions of the Buddhist monks, teeth. For keeping awake while meditating, perfect. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Popularized by Buddhist monks and nuns. Anyway, put that there. Has anybody got any questions of what we said this morning? If not, we will carry on, yeah? Before lunch, quite a few people were asking me questions. I don't know if they're all still here or not.
No, he's not translating.
I don't know. Maybe she's coming or not coming. I don't know, yeah? If not, somebody else can read, yeah? Okay. Okay, no questions. Perfect. Okay, so we'll carry it on, yeah? Okay. So, in our book, we got to, okay, we did this, okay. I mean, it's like very, very dense, this first part of the book, with lots and lots of like doorways into many beautiful teachings, actually, yeah? Okay. Hang on 1 second, I'll tell you. We're on, okay. Yeah, we're on page, 33, okay. Okay, so we're on the next little chapter, which is History of Humanity according to the Buddhist perspective, yeah? So, okay, so who can read? You can read, no? Yes, you speak good English. Please, maybe, oh no, Nune's coming, it's okay, yeah? Okay, so, okay. Okay, so the next bit, it's talking about something that's not so easy to digest at first, which is this idea of the yugas, the ages, yeah? Okay? So, okay, maybe things are a bit different these days, but when I was brought up as a child, we were led to believe that, there was like ancient Mesopotamia, and the Fertile Crescent and the Egyptians and, Rome, Greece, blah, 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 then the Dark Ages, and then gradually we had the Renaissance and everything gets better, yeah? That's how we were educated, this gradual ascent of progress, and everything's marvellous, and everything's much better than it used to be, and aren't we lucky kind of thing, yeah? Which are okay, some things is true, like dentistry, surgery, some things, yes, we're very happy, But the Buddhist perspective on this is quite different, sorry to say, but in Buddhism and also Hinduism, also in actually modern physics, we have this idea of like a cyclic world, that just like the seasons, it grows, increase, decline, and then start again and again and again like this, okay? So, from the Buddhist point of view, that we have like yugas or ages, and sorry to have to inform you, the bad news is we're in the worst age, yeah? The Kali Yuga, yeah, okay? Yeah? So there's actually, you know, like, I don't know exactly recently when, but let's say recently in the last couple of decades, now they discovered that this idea of, you know, there was like cave people and then Fertile Crescent is actually not true, you know, because actually like now they discovered like in Turkey, you know, Göbekli, what's it called? There's this like temple they discovered in Turkey that's like 13,000 years old, you know, yeah? That's what they're trying to find out, looks like, of the stars, yeah? There's a huge complex of temples somewhere in Turkey. And now actually they discovered many kind of like monuments from before the last ice age, you know? So guess what? We aren't the only ones, you know? Yeah, okay. So gradually archaeology and stuff's catching up, you know? So anyway, so like I say, this bit you may find a little hard to take, but I tell you more and more, I think maybe it's true, you know, actually, you know? Anyway, so maybe Nunele, you read it, and then we'll talk about it, yeah? Page 33, yeah?
I know. Someone took my book.
Who's got Nunele's book? Hand it over.
Paola, but she's not yet here. Sorry.
What do you need, an English book?
Yeah.
Yeah. Please.
Okay, first rule of karma. If you take somebody else's book, you won't have a book.
So on. Okay. History of humanity according to the Buddhist perspective, the crisis of the present age. We have reached a point of global danger and the elements are losing patience with us. If we continue to torture our planet by destroying the natural environment, we can expect to experience an increase in various kinds of suffering and disease. We have polluted the biosphere to the point where astronauts can see a dark halo of pollution encircling our entire planet. We have carried out nuclear testing in the sky, on the earth, and the oceans. Through our actions, we have severely disrupted planetary life forces, and we are rapidly destroying the elements. Following this self-destructive path will provoke in the future an increasing number of serious diseases such as AIDS, hepatitis, and cancers, as well as many less serious but debilitating and autoimmune sicknesses such as chronic fatigue syndrome, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, rheumatological diseases, thyroid disorders, and allergies.
Okay, 1 second, Nune. So this is talking about collective karma, yeah? So, for example, if you have like this, they talk about this is from the medical tantras, by the way. These predictions of the future, and there's 18 type of difficult to cure sicknesses that will arise in our time. But if you have any of those things, it's not that you personally. I mean, okay, each one of us we did our bit of environmental damage with the car, with having all these fridges and machines that we throw, and computers and all this. But this is the collective karma. So, you know, like all of us together have polluted the environment, and some people, they have more sensibility, yeah? So it's not like you have to feel like personally like responsible for the whole planet, yeah? Okay? But some people are like weaker, so, you know, like for whatever health reason, and then they're more susceptible to getting sick in this very challenging time, you know, because everything is dirty, everything. Even Rinpoche used to, Lama Gangchen used to say, everything like here in the West looks nice, but it's so dirty, you know, he used to say, yeah?
So polluted, yeah.
Yeah, so even if you can't see, there's a very strong level of like pollution everywhere, you know?
This is why Rinpoche was saying that he was looking for another place, and he was looking for a place like this one, because he said you have so many deep imprints, and also the elements are so much polluted that no medicine can help. You must stay in a pure environment. That's he repeated so many times.
Yeah. Another thing Rinpoche used to say is like, he said around the edge of Europe, still something possible, where it's a little bit cleaner, actually, yeah? Where it's less industrialized, you know? Okay. Yeah. So anyway, so yes.
Our entire planet and the subtle environmental energies are becoming increasingly allergic to us. We need to develop a new awareness and understanding in society that by destroying the planetary immune system, we are also destroying our own bodies and minds. It is important for each person to understand that our own self-healing also means accepting to take care of the external environment. Healing the outer environment is self-healing. If we are to resist the diseases that derive from our collective negativity, selfishness, and social degeneration, we have to increase our own vital energy by strengthening our immune system and increasing our positive and life-healing energy. Our outer and inner worlds can both be healed through the practice of NgalSo Tantric self-healing, which purifies the outer and inner 5 elements and increases life energy. With the help of Vajrapani's energy, we can begin right now to fight the inner and secret Shambhala war, so that when the outer Shambhala war, the planetary healing crisis, erupts in the 25th century, we are ready and able to help. The more people who practice self-healing instead of self-cherishing, the greater the positive environmental and planetary effect will be. With meditation, mantra, and mudra, we can transform the Kali Yuga age of degeneration into the Shambhala age of self-healing and the Maitreya age of universal compassion.
Okay, so, you know, like, if you look at different religious traditions, yeah, around the world, yeah, so if you examine the experience of different mystics, you know, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever, many of them have this confrontation with their own mind, you know. Like, for example, Saint Anthony, yeah, okay, famous Christian mystic who took himself off to the desert and then faced his inner demons, okay? Like the Buddha, like Jesus Christ, you know. So there's this mystic, in the esoteric, mystical side of, you know, any religious path, there's this thing of facing your own inner energies, your emotions, yeah, okay, like this, which is like kind of like archetypally explained as like a inner, like Shambhala war. Obviously, like as Buddhists, there's no, we do not condone any kind of violence. We're pacifists, yeah, we do not agree with fighting and all this, yeah. But we acknowledge that in these, you know, like mystics, people who are healing themselves, they have to struggle sometimes with their own psyches, you know, yeah. And then all the forces come and you have to make peace with whatever it is for you, you know, whether it's addiction or fear or, you know, many, many, many things can be in your own mind, but whatever is disturbing you, you have to either, you know, deal with it, you have to either fight it, pacify it, or make friends with it, yeah? There's 3 options, yeah, okay? Or make it disappear, like, no problem, soha, yeah, okay? So this is what we mean by the Shambhala war, okay? Yeah? We're not going to all start dressing up in military uniforms and marching around or anything like that, yeah? Sorry, we're not into stuff like that, we're Buddhist, yeah, okay? In the Kala Chakra, there is this prophecy, that, the Kala Chakra, the Wheel of Time Tantra, 5,600 years ago, Lord Buddha taught the Kala Chakra at the very end of his life, actually, when he was just before he passed away, yeah, okay? And now he taught that to somebody called King Suchandra, yeah, okay, of Shambhala. So there's always been like a discussion exactly where this Shambhala is, but anyway, it's one kingdom, and they became Buddhist because the king started to practice the Kala Chakra, and his friends, his entourage, and so on, and then the people. So they say that this Shambhala, yeah, in terms of like normal perception, became invisible to everybody else. It became what we call secret valley, you know, secret land, yeah. So it's a place in our world where only people with pure vision can see it, okay? Yeah, this is the Shambhala myth, which has excited a lot of people for generations, you know. Like, there's like guidebooks, how to get to Shambhala, all kinds of exciting things, yeah, okay? The Christians, actually, you know, the Jesuits, they first sent missionaries to Tibet because they'd heard of Shambhala and they were trying to find it, you know, yeah? Mm-hmm. That's how come the first Tibetan dictionaries and stuff like that, yeah? But anyway, okay. Shambhala, yeah? So the idea of Shambhala is that now we're in the Kali Yuga, it's all confused, we'll read a bit more about that in the next section of the book, yeah? And so, there's like, just look at the news, very selfish people who don't care about anything except themselves, many people in power, don't care, destroying the environment, you know, many like this, no? But then, as Lama Gangchen used to say, there's also this positive movement of people who do care, you know? Not just us, Buddhists, you know, there's all kinds of people doing positive things for the environment and for society and healing, lots and lots and lots. Because the idea of Shambhala is not that it's not that everybody becomes Buddhist, yeah? Shambhala, by the way, is, I don't know if you can see on that corner of the mandala, you can see here this corner near me. It's like between the white and the green, there's a picture, mandala there, that's the picture of Shambhala, so it's this kingdom, yeah? And the idea is that there's all kinds of religions there, all kinds of different people, religions, and they have like this a democracy, yeah? And basically people accept other people for who they are, you know, so it can be many different religions, many worldviews, but they all live together in peace. So I think that in Shambhala there's almost like 100 different like sub-kingdoms, yeah? And, you know, each one has their own point of view, but they're in harmony, yeah? Okay? So that's the idea of Shambhala, that, you know, we can like learn to live in peace, because honestly it's the only way forward, isn't it? Because just this polarization, I'm right, you're wrong, my God is better than yours, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's not working, yeah? Okay? So Shambhala is an alternative view where people collectively have a, you know, more tolerance, more harmony, you know, and put the collective before the individual, you know? Yeah? So this is like a vision of the future healing of our planet, our society, okay? So in the Kala Chakra it says that, well, there's different interpretations of this. Some people say in the year 2424, the Shambhala kingdom will break out into humanity. And some people, they say, oh no, the Buddhists have got it wrong and it's starting now, yeah? So we shall just have to see who's right now, okay?
That's
yeah?
so the second, yeah.
So anyway, so this book is talking a lot about this idea of increasing the inner light, increasing the inner positivity, you know, okay? Yeah, using this kind of hero archetype, yeah? Fighting your delusion, yeah, okay? Hero or heroine, yeah? Yeah, because anyway, we have those archetypes within our mind, so sometimes we need to use, you know? Yeah? It's difficult, but I can do it, you know? Yeah? Okay, Nunela, do you want to read the next bit, yeah?
Okay. Cycles of spiritual and energetic decline in human history. If we look back in human history, we will find a clear relationship between the decrease of spiritual and life energy with the rise of war, famine, plague, environmental destruction, and disasters. In particular, over recent decades, we can see an increase in mental and physical diseases in modern society that can be linked to our collective energetic, moral, and social degeneration over the centuries. According to Buddhist myth, in the golden age of the Chakravartin kings, our world was a pure land, a great spiritual world community governed by a leader whose 7 precious gems revealed the ethos of that bygone age. The leader had a Dharma wheel to symbolize ethical government according to spiritual laws, a wish-fulfilling jewel to symbolize the truth, a precious queen to symbolize love, a perfect minister to govern with wisdom and justice, a precious general who embodies courage and loyalty, a precious elephant to symbolize outer and inner strength and stability, a precious celestial horse representing outer and inner freedom. In this age, humanity lived in harmony with the environment and the cosmos. The outer and inner elements were balanced, and outer and inner peace prevailed in the world. However, negative karma slowly began to separate human beings from their natural state of inner awareness and pure crystal wisdom. Disturbed negative emotions became grosser and more manifest. As a result of following the 3 root poisons of ignorance, hatred, and attachment, the 84,000 mental and physical faults arose, and the Kali Yuga age of degeneration began. The beginning of the Kali Yuga is nowadays called the Late Bronze Age, which collapsed in the 12th century before Christ. This gave rise to the Vedic period of ancient India, the Axis Age, and the great empires in China, the Middle East, and Europe. This period also saw the formation of the major world religions, Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, Jainism, Confucianism, and Shintoism. Gradually, due to the internal conflicts, barbarian invasions, and environmental mismanagement, these great empires slowly disintegrated. Weakened by plague and political corruption, all these empires eventually fell. The next stage of spiritual degeneration took place during the medieval period, noted for its racial and religious wars. When feudal kingdoms and ethnic groups fought each other to establish the supremacy of their bloodline and faith. During this age, the Muslim faith arose to show people how to care for their outer and inner worlds, according to their culture and temperament. The conquering Muslim and Mongols armies swept all over the Middle East, North Africa, Eastern Europe, India, and Asia. During this time, Buddhism was destroyed in India by foreign invasions to be reborn in the snow mountains of Tibet. Christianity became the dominant religion across Europe, and the Christians and Muslims began to fight each other in a series of holy wars. The bubonic plague, more commonly known as the Black Death, swept through Europe 3 times, killing 1/3 of the population. Leprosy was widespread. The medieval period ended in the decline of religious faith and in the power of kings. Wars and plague saw the collapse of the feudal system. The modern age, the next period of spiritual degeneration, saw mankind move from collective society to individualism and the rise of business and scientific development. As people moved progressively further away from their pure inner wisdom, increasingly hidden by dense clouds of delusion, negativity, and mental obscuration, they began to forget about their inner world and instead concentrated on taking care of the outer world. Economic wars were fought over natural resources and trade routes. The development of banking systems, machines, and industrialization were introduced to increase profits. Science became the modern religion, and money the modern-day god. A class system based on income developed. Sicknesses such as tuberculosis, cancers, heart disorders, and sexually transmitted diseases became widespread. A new wisdom vehicle.
Oh, wait. Okay, so at first this all seems a bit bleak, yeah, doesn't it? And it's like, no. But actually, honestly, we talk about this Kali Yuga, so things are gradually degenerating. We don't mean, of course, our technology is better, surgery is better. We're not saying like that, but many of we're losing the connection with the sacred, with the environment, It's like we're becoming very disconnected from the world around us, yeah? And just like this, almost like virtual reality, AI, who knows it's going to be like in the future generations, yeah? So I mean in that terms, and when we talk about the Kali age, yeah? Okay, also, like people, they lose their attention span, so, for example, it's not telephone, but here we are, yeah? Lost your attention, we cannot remember anything anymore, thanks to our, this is actually a microphone, but you know what I mean, yeah? Thanks to this, completely lost the attention, and many of the important things like memory, concentration, connection with the environment, these are getting less, okay, yeah? Of course, some things is getting more, yeah? Some things are okay in this age, yeah? But anyway, we were always taught that, we are infinitely better than our ancestors, aren't we? And this is the top, and we are the best, but I'm sorry to say it's not true, yeah? And many of the things we discover, we just rediscover, like all these discoveries, well, actually, like the black hole, in Sagittarius A. Well, actually, the ancient Vedic rishis knew about that 5,000 years ago, you know, without a telescope, you know. Amazing, yeah? So we're so clever and all that, but we generally rediscover things that people already knew, you know, and then forgot, yeah? Yeah. Anyway, something to think about, you know. I mean, like I said, this is not really very comfortable because it's, you know, this is like saying, hang on, what you were brought up to believe is wrong, yeah? And it, like Buddhism is like you don't have to believe, but then you analyze, is it true or not, you know? But we, since this was made in the 90s, yeah? But now we can see really the environment is really bad and there's so many terrible things happening in the world and it looks more and more clear that this is actually the case, you know? Yeah. Also, it's not just the Buddhists and Hindus who say this. Also, like, for example, homeopathy, yeah? They talk about these cycles, you know, okay? Yeah, so anyway, so just have a think about it, okay?
A new wisdom vehicle. In the present day, the inner world of humanity has become deeply jealous of the attention we give to the outer world. Our inner world is violently protesting by detonating inner atom bombs of deep physical and mental sicknesses. Human history is not, as we so often wishfully suppose, a steady ascent of man rising above adversity, from caveman to spaceman, but rather a slow and painful degeneration of many important aspects of life. Our inner crystal
of wisdom consciousness.
Inner crystal of wisdom consciousness has become more and more obscured. Consequently, deeper and more serious diseases have arisen caused by outer and inner environmental destruction and pollution. Now, in the third millennium, we stand in the most confused, difficult, and dangerous period of human history. For example, all over the world, millions of dollars are poured into medical research, but still the numbers of people suffering from chronic diseases are increasing. Even with all the hospitals, medical personnel, researchers, and hugely expensive technology available to us, degenerative diseases are rampant. In order to find lasting solutions for the diseases now threatening modern society, medicine needs to take into consideration the essence of ancient medical scientific ideas, such as the mental, behavioral, and environmental causes of cancer, AIDS, plagues, and epidemics. In this way, we can create a new wisdom vehicle.
Okay, this was a big theme of Lama Gangchen, you know. So, he was always like saying this kind of thing, like, that we need like a kind of integrative system, we would call it, you know. Okay, yes, of course, we have like some very good things in the modern society, and by the way, never say don't do the regular treatment, but you say, you need to follow your doctor's advice, but on top, we need to put together with many other kind of healing methods, yeah. There's many things that in our modern society, let's say we forgot, yeah, we lost. Rinpoche always used to say that actually before, in our ancient cultures, we had many of these like pure ideas and energies, but we gradually lost this kind of wisdom. And he used to say many times that, like for example, here in Italy, for example, look back to ancient culture, many of these things like the elements, that things were sacred and so on, were present, but we gradually forgot or rejected it, with the rise, like with the Renaissance, which of course parts are very good, yeah. But completely reject the whole of the previous worldview, like a bit too much, okay? So we always need like a middle way, of course, okay? We need science is neutral. We always need to find a way to use in a positive way, okay? But with the scientific worldview, there was this complete rejection of any ideas before, about nature, the environment, the sacred, it's many things just like, okay, forget it, old, okay? So now we need a little bit like, okay, some things need to recover the idea from ancient times, and integrate with some of their modern ideas, then hopefully things will gradually be okay if we have a good motivation, is the idea, okay? So Rinpoche was always talking about this, that we need this new wisdom vehicle, I mean, like here, for example, here since the beginning, in our Kumpen Lama Gangchen, later Albagnano, we always use technology a lot, yeah? Rinpoche understood from the beginning, he was one of the first lamas to understand that things would go like on the internet and all this multimedia stuff. In fact, he was the first Tibetan Lama to do streaming, yeah, okay? Everybody's like, no, you can't do it. And now every single Lama and their friends does it, yeah, okay, yeah. Because Rinpoche was far-seeing, he understood that, you need to adapt, to the modern times and use technology in the positive way, so... Another thing Rinpoche was saying, Carmen, wasn't he? Carmen, no? Rinpoche was always saying that, now we replace the God with the money God, yeah? He used to say a lot that in Milano, yeah? And it's true, yeah? So we worship at the altar of money, yeah? Yeah? But then we have to consider what kind of value, what kind of quality of our life does that actually give us? And actually not making happy is actually the result, yeah? Okay? Yeah? So any questions about that? If not, we shall move on, okay? But if you are all welcome to ask questions as we go on through this, yeah? Okay, no questions, good. Anyway, think about it, yeah? I mean, it's pretty, strong stuff, yeah, But I think nowadays we just watch the news, it's so awful, It's just depressing, isn't it, switching on? But it doesn't mean we shouldn't. We should switch it on and pray, but terrible, all the environmental disaster, all the time, everywhere, and all the horrible things that's happening around the world, But, sorry? Well, there's different ideas, yeah? Okay, so like I say, recently, I was quite pleased to say, I was reading one thing that some Vedic astrologers said that 5th of March 2025, some Vedic astrologers saying we hit the bottom, which is good because when you hit the bottom, only direction to go is up, yeah? So that means April, May, June, July. Okay, now we're 4 months on the up, yeah? So we just need another 400 years on the up, yeah?
That's it.
I mean, I don't know, there's different ideas, Also, there's different ideas about when the Kali Yuga starts, yeah? Okay. Some people say it was 5,000 years ago. Some people say it was like the birth of Krishna. Some people say it's when the Buddha appeared, that the Buddha was like an avatar of Vishnu. This is Hinduism, yeah? They explain that the Buddha is like one avatar who manifests for the Kali Yuga to change people's minds, Different ideas, So 3,500 years ago, maybe. I mean, in India, yeah? Whatever number they have very exuberant in the numerology, yeah? So everything is like that, plus add a few 100,000 on the end, So everything's like trillions and billions, Like in the Mahayana Sutras, everything's like millions and billions of everything. But nowadays, I don't know, they think maybe the Bronze Age, something like that. What it means is when people become more warlike, okay? Like when they develop like iron, okay? Bronze, it was not very good for killing people, yeah? They used it, bronze, it's like, they use like in the Mediterranean and stuff, like for rituals and things. It's not hard enough, yeah? But then when, with the development of agriculture and all this, and then, mine my territory, and they develop iron weapons, yeah? Then they find a very, much better for killing each other with. So probably it's the beginning of the Iron Age, Okay. What we would call the beginning of the Kali Yuga, yeah? Anyway, interesting, no? Also, archaeology is very interesting, actually. Yeah? But anyway, the main point is we're in it now, yeah? Okay. This is the Kali Yuga. So we cannot think we're in the Golden Age because, sorry, we are not. Definitely we are not. I think most people agree these days, yeah? Okay, but then what to do about it? Getting depressed is not the solution. Do something positive. Increase the inner light, Increase the dawn of the Shambhala age is what we have to do, yeah? That's our contribution to society, okay? Yeah? That's what Lama Gangchen shows us, yeah? Okay, everything is really bad, okay, so we will do more to be positive, yeah? Okay? That's what we try and do, isn't it, yeah? Okay, not just us, many groups and centres and things around the world, yeah? Whether it's saving the dolphins or the squid or whatever, or whatever. Everything positive is part of the Shambhala energy rising, yeah? Yeah. If it was just us, it would be a bit depressing, but fortunately there's a lot of people doing good things around the world, but they never show that in the newspapers, no? Yeah? That's why Lama Gangchen make peace times, no? It's a good news for the world, because we always, there are some sites like that. We need to focus on the positive, because, like with news, media stuff, yeah, they have this idea that news only sells if it's negative, Don't know whether that's true or not, but anyway, we actually need some reaffirming positive news. This is why we make peacetime radio in Milano for several years, you know, that was good, you know, also peace times, you know. So, okay, now those exactly like that's not working anymore, but okay, next version needs to come, you know. Just because we did it in the 90s doesn't mean we shouldn't do it again, yeah, okay. So now they have the Center Albagnano newspaper, I think we should call it Peace Times News for the World, you know, saying all the good things we're doing here, no, which is a lot, yeah, yeah. You know?
No, this project is a project.
They're publishing like this. I saw like this kind of report of like all the good things that we're doing. Yeah, Renata, come and tell it. Renata, come and tell it. Yeah, please come. Renata knows about it. Yes, please, please. Yeah. Okay, Renata doesn't want to appear on camera. She's shy, but she says on our NgalSo website they're reopening the peacetime section. Yeah, for good news, positive news. Yeah. So please look and, you know, rejoice, yeah? Rejoicing is the best investment, yeah? Because it's true, there are many, of course, you know, now we have like global communication, so it's a bit depressing, isn't it? That, okay, today there was a bush crash in Turkey and a terrible thing happened in Brazil, Bangladesh, whatever, because now we can see everything, but it's a bit like, of course, it was always true, but I don't know if our minds were emotionally designed to know about all the pain and suffering, you know? Unless we're already like bodhisattva level. It's a bit overwhelming for people, yeah? But anyway, so we need to counter it by more positive news, yeah? Okay? Yeah? Lama Gangchen emphasized that a lot. So at least in our, he said, if you want to gossip, we need to do peace gossip. Instead, you know, didn't he, yeah? He said a lot this, yeah? Please gossip as much as you want about peace and positive things, yeah? Yeah? So we need to change the habit, yeah? 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 Which, since this was written, has got much, much worse, you know, actually, yeah? Yeah? We didn't have, like, X and all that stuff in that when this was written, yeah? Okay. Yes, Tom? Please come and tell us here. Yeah? Yeah, or speak in a microphone so we can hear you, yeah?
Now, I'd be curious to know a little bit more what you think about watching the news, because I thought about this quite a lot in the last time, because it's also so there, right? I mean, before you used to have to turn on the TV at a certain time, or you had to go out and buy a newspaper, and now also on the phone it's just there, and then there's also, and then at some point I thought it's also like meditating on the wrong thing, it could be in a certain way, or at the same time, on one hand, there's this like urge to be informed, and then you think that you could think about certain people and pray for certain people, or maybe that's useful. But on the other hand, maybe it's better just to get on the cushion and do the practice, and the balance of those things. I'd be really interested to know what you think.
Well, yes. What do I think? I think one of the trouble is now that we have like continuous, like basically bad news all the time. You know, on many channels on our device and TV, is that we become like desensitized to suffering. You know. So, like, then it's like you don't even look, really. It's just like, it doesn't like knowing, because we're so used to hearing all these horrible things continuously that it has no more effect. We've desensitized ourselves to other people's pain, so I don't think that's good, yeah? I mean, like Lama Gangchen, as the old friends know, yeah? Every lunchtime, you have the TV on with many news channels, yeah? And he's just watching all this, and we say, how, you know, why Rinpoche? He said, because I'm praying, yeah? But you have different capacity, like stronger empathy, you know, love, compassion, you know? So he used to sit there, like, eating his lunch, yeah? And then flicking between all the channels, like war, disaster, earthquake, you know, famine, horrible things. Pray. He said, I'm praying, yeah? Okay. So if we can, we should do like that, yeah? But I think for us, you know, like us lesser people, you know, I think we need to not watch it all the time, because I find you just become desensitized to it, you know, yeah? Like you cannot deal with it emotionally, so then it's like there's no more effect when you see people starving to death or whatever horrible thing has happened to them, you know, So maybe not all, maybe of course, you know, like maybe like watch the news a bit, but not all the time, you know, don't just leave it on playing all day long. It's like, you know. Depends on your capacity, no? Yeah, yeah. How strong your mind is, no?
And when he was doing that, you think, or you know, he was praying for them specific
yeah,
people
he
in
told
specific
us,
cases.
Yeah.
It wasn't for all sentient beings. And
No, like when
really
Rinpoche used to watch, like, I don't know, let's say an earthquake in Turkey or something, he would sit there and pray for them specifically, you know? Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
the countries.
yeah,
When he was flying over
Yeah.
Italy or Japan, he would specifically
Yeah.
pray to the country below.
that's good, no? So, for example, if you fly a lot, yeah, okay? So, like Rinpoche was like, always, okay, we're over, I don't know where, Italy, Japan, wherever. So, the country you can see on the world map now, can't you? So then you dedicate for the one underneath you, Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, but you see, the Rinpoche was like really high mind, yeah? It shows us what to do, then we have to try and catch up, Yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, I guess this, it's a new wisdom vehicle, yeah? We take the best of the modern society, Okay, yes, we have some hope now, don't we, for like with technology that maybe we can solve the energy crisis, yeah? And control global warming and all this, yeah? We haven't entirely lost hope in this technology, yeah? But then, of course, we need many other things to come back that we a little bit forgot, So we need to enhance, our new technological society with many ancient values and, respect for nature and society, not just become totally like technological and robotic and all that, yeah? Yeah? So, yes, we need a new wisdom vehicle, yeah? Okay? Okay, so let's carry on a little bit. So, Nuna, yeah?
Okay. The qualities and characteristics of Buddha Vajrapani.
Actually, can somebody put down the screen? Maybe we can project a picture of Vajrapani on the screen, yeah? Well, we have various ones, yeah? Okay? Yeah? At least we can put, like, the card that Renata just prepared, Yeah? Yeah. Yeah? Yeah? Seeing as we're talking of, actually, okay, there's many, many different forms of Vajrapani. We tried to put a few of them in the book. It can be like a young, beautiful prince or a ruffle Vajrapani. There's many different forms, okay? Yeah. So, Renata, if possible, if you can help them to project there, that'd be nice. Yeah. So please, Renata, do you want to read this chapter?
Homage to Vajrapani, powerful and fierce, virtuous king of the knowledge mantras, tamer of the hard to tame. Susiddhi Tantra.
Oh yes, okay, so this is this is the epitaph of Vajrapani, tamer of the hard to tame. That's us, yeah, okay? Yeah, our minds are so complicated, so difficult, so we need like this kind of Vajrapani energy to put our mind back into line, yeah, okay, yeah?
The destroyer of shadows. Vajrapani is an archetype of enlightenment and embodies the qualities of spiritual strength and calmness in the face of adversity. He is considered to be a healing manifestation of Buddha Shakyamuni's mind and can help us to overcome the demons of delusions, aggregates, death, and god demons, as well as the interferences of the degenerate age, the last 500 years of Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings. Through the Vajrapani Tantric self-healing practice, we can heal, transform, and relax the body and mind of both ourselves and of all living beings.
Okay, so in the Western worldview, okay, you have God, no? Yeah? And then you have all these saints, angels, and demons, okay? Now it's become slightly more unpopular, okay? But basically this is like, you have all the angel of saints and angels that are helping you to do good and all these negative forces that are provoking you to bring out the worst side of yourself, okay? Isn't it, yeah? Basically, from what I understood on the subject, yeah? So when we talk about demon, it's a symbol, okay, in Buddhism, yeah, okay? So it means what obstructs us from getting awakened, what obstructs us from getting enlightened, yeah, okay? So Buddha was born in the Vedic society, and okay, so he took what was around his society, yeah? But in the Buddhist context, yeah, when we talk about these demons, yeah, what we mainly mean is our own delusion, yeah? Our pride, we have this book, no, that Lama Michelle's commenting on, this one book that Lama Ganchin liked very much, the debate between the ignorance and wisdom, no? Okay, yeah. Very good example, like this kind of discussion, like there's wisdom, blah, 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 and then selfishness, ignorance is saying, oh, but without me, you can't live and all this, it's like, yeah, it's like showing it's inside of us, yeah, okay? Very nice, that book. Rinpoche liked that. Lama Gangchen, he really, really liked that book. And he said, if you want to understand emptiness, just concentrate on that one. Yeah, okay, yeah. So main interference we have is one is our delusion, yeah, okay, ignorance, desire, hatred, pride, jealousy, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot, yeah, okay, of negative emotions, delusions, yeah. Then, okay, the next thing that's a problem for us is our body and mind, yeah, okay. So, okay, we're all born in this world, and the natural condition is that as we age, things get worse, yeah, okay. It's natural aging that, our body starts to give us more problems, yeah, okay. But we need to try, okay, our body is also our temple, yeah. So as much as is possible, depending on our own situation, our own possibility, we try and have as much energy, as much positive energy of our body as we can. Obviously, it depends on our age, our state of health, and so on, but whatever we can, we want the best of our possibility, okay? Yeah? So, okay, our mind is a problem, our negative emotions. Our body is a problem, yeah? Okay, yeah? But, okay, we need to make friends and deal with that, yeah? Make these negative things into positive things, yeah? Then, okay, death, okay, so death, okay, everybody is going to die, unfortunately, but that's how it is, yeah? Everybody who is born will die, yeah? So what we want is to try and, okay, have to die, but let's try and put it off as much as possible. Let's try and live out our natural lifespan if we're doing something positive, yeah? Because then, then we have more time to evolve, to grow in this lifetime when we're very lucky, when we got access to so many beautiful things, yeah? Okay? Yeah? Okay, then will come another life and another life, but who knows if we have the same condition like we have now. So we try and use fully the chance we have, therefore we try and live as long as possible for each one of us, okay? Yeah? Yeah? And then, okay, then the very last one of these, so that 99.9% of our problems is ourself, yeah? Okay? The fact we have delusions, the fact that our body is always, going out of balance, yeah? The fact we're going to die, yeah? And only the last one is at the ladder, yeah? Is actually something external to us. Actually, interference can also be like something like environmental disaster, things like that, stock market crash, yeah? This kind of external thing that, don't know, like, for example, if your house is washed away in a flood, like happens around here, no? In the Italian Alps, yeah? This is a problem, yeah? I have to get a new house, yeah? Okay, yeah? Yeah. So, but this is like very small amount. So, please, we need to think that 99.99% of this is me, and a very, very microscopic percentage of this is this other type. Yeah, which also, honestly, I tell you, yeah. I spent a lot of years of my life traveling around with Lama Gangchen, so I can guarantee you that in Europe you are quite safe. Maybe some other places in the world where there's better nature, where it's not completely industrialized and full of us, maybe there's still some subtle beings left, but I tell you, around here we've quite successfully eliminated them all by spreading everywhere ourselves, yeah, okay? So before we start all this like superstition, all this nam talk, please, this is like, okay, 99.99% of this is ourself, yeah, okay, yeah? Very rarely could it be anything else, and much less than superstitious people would like to believe, yeah? So let's just concentrate on this is a symbol, yeah, of our minds, that are our own psychological, how do you call it, unwellness, yeah? How do you
Unwellness.
How do you say that in English? Disagio? How do you say disagio in English?
Unbalanced?
Yeah, like, so this is a symbol of the fact that we are not well. Sorry? Unease, thank you.
Unease, just.
Yeah, it's a symbol of our psychological unease, and we're trying to bring ourselves back into balance, so, okay? Yeah? So, before we start getting into all these archetypes, so please, don't come and tell me, maybe there's a ghost, maybe there's that, maybe there's this, because I tell you, we've successfully cut down all the trees, we've drained all the rivers, and all these subtle beings don't like us, and they've moved. They've moved somewhere else with a nicer place, not here, yeah? So I wouldn't worry about it, yeah? Yeah? Okay?
Okay.
So anyway, so it's what we need to heal. The shadows is in our own subconscious, yeah? Okay? Yeah? They have this thing called shadow work, which is dealing with the unmanifest, disturbed part of your own subconscious, yeah? So this, you can say, is like shadow work, okay, yeah? That you have to face what you made yourself, yeah? Your own shadow, yeah, okay? And each one has a different version, but anyway, it's very healing to make peace with that side of ourselves, you know, okay? Okay, Nyune La, do you want to read the next bit?
Protector of Tantra, the commander of the Shambhala army.
Yeah.
Historically, Vajrapani is a very important figure in Tantric Buddhism, as he is the enlightened aspect of one of the 8 great Mahayana disciples of Buddha Shakyamuni. His special task is to take care of the secret energy practices of the Tantric teachings. Other than requesting the transmission of the Tantras from Buddha, he also acted as Buddha's representative, known as the Action Vajra, and introduced people to Tantric practices and mandalas. All Tantric practices were revealed thanks to Vajrapani. In fact, the famous Buddhist text Ngakrim Chemmo, Great Stages of the Path of the Tantra, written by Lama Tsongkhapa, refers to him as the Lord of the Vajra class of Tantras. Vajrapani is the supreme commander of the Shambhala army, who possesses the absolute power and energy to transform the negative energy attacks of the outer, inner, and secret disturbances of the Lalo barbarian army. He shows many different faces and actions to heal the many different levels and forms of negativity. Vajrapani is not a fantasy figure created by Mahayana Buddhists. He is the manifestation of the archetypal healing energies of Buddha's compassion, wisdom, and power, which subdue and transform their negative opponent energies of hatred, ignorance, and attachment.
Actually, Vajrapani is very much like the power and aspect, yeah, okay? Spiritual power, yeah? Hang on, wait, yeah. So, okay, over there on the wall, I don't know if you can see, okay, people on the streaming you can't see, we have this tanka of Buddha Shakyamuni teaching the Prajna Paramita, surrounded by the 8 Mahayana Bodhisattvas. So in our Mahayana self-healing book, yeah, you can see, this picture is inside there, yeah? So actually there's millions of Bodhisattva disciples of Shakyamuni, but there's like Chenrezig, Manjusri, Vajrapani, Maitreya, Ksitigarbha, Samantabhadra, and somebody else who I forgot, yeah. But anyway, there's 8 of them, yeah, okay, 8 main ones, yeah. So actually Vajrapani is over there. It looks like very beautiful, very handsome actually. There's many, many different ways to see Vajrapani, yeah. Here it says, if you, like I was saying before, if you look at like the carvings, you know, from Afghanistan, from Odiana, yeah? You can see, actually some people say that, you know, in Afghanistan, yeah, okay, Alexander the Great, you know, the Greek emperor, yeah? He took his army as far as Afghanistan, okay? So then they had like this great Greek Buddhist culture, yeah? So some people, they say, art historians, that actually this first image as Vajrapani was based on the image of Hercules, actually, you know, yeah? Hercules, yeah, okay, like we have in, like here in Italy, we have a lot of this, you know, like Hercules, you know, with this club, yeah, okay, so that some people, they suggest that the origin of Vajrapani and his club, was he's holding a stick, yeah, okay, in Afghanistan art, yeah, is this, yeah, could be, who knows, yeah, okay, possible, why not, yeah. Anyway, so, how to set, hang on. Okay, yes, so if you look in all this, most of the Tantric texts, you know, they say Vajrapani is requesting them, Vajrapani is the protector, and so on, yeah, okay, it's true, yeah, okay. Okay, so here, is this that, okay, so again is this kind of, it's an archetype, okay? No, there's no actual war to be had in the outer world, but it means we need to struggle against our delusions. We shouldn't let our delusion win, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. So Vajrapani is the commander of our inner Shambhala army, yeah, okay, yeah? And, okay, so, like in ancient Italy, yeah, okay, before Italy, ancient Rome, no, okay, I've read Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, you know, and how the northern tribes, they destroy Rome, yeah, okay, Rome had collapsed socially, you know, and then finally it was taken over by the barbarians, yeah, okay, barbarian actually in Latin means people who come from the countryside, yeah, okay, yeah, like, yeah, countryside dwellers, yeah, okay, yeah. But okay, when we have this archetype, you know, of like you have to face your inner barbarians, it's like all your uncontrolled emotions, you know, like a rabble, a horde of, you know, desire, anger, jealousy, you know, like, yeah. Because it feels sometimes a bit like this, you know, at first our mind is like uncontrolled and we're just, you know, taken over by, no, it's true, no. Like, where did that come from? Why am I getting angry? I shouldn't get angry, but I'm angry, yeah? We're taken over by these things, aren't we, yeah? Or I feel proud, I feel jealous, yeah? It's like we're overwhelmed, like, you know, like, yeah? So we have to gradually develop our inner strength and not let all these delusions overwhelm us, yeah? Okay, yeah? These chaotic forces coming out of our own subconscious, yeah? Why? Because we have a lot of trauma and stuff, yeah? A lot of, Rinpoche called it the karma bombs, remember, yeah? So we have to heal all that, yeah? So it's like a symbol, okay, yeah, okay? If you don't like this part, just ignore it. You can just say, okay, I'll just do Vajrapani mantra if this is too strong for you, you know, yeah? You know, but, you know, also Buddhism grew up in a kind of historic context where it was possible you could be totally invaded, yeah, okay? You know, like in India, Mongolia, etc. It happened, you know. So they have this idea, you know. Yeah, I need to, you know,
to
not be overwhelmed,
myself.
you know. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so yes, Vajrapani is not a fantasy figure. For example, our Lama Gangchen, many people considered him to be an emanation of Vajrapani. Obviously, it is not blue, yeah, or walking around holding a thunderbolt, but his energy, what we mean is his quality of energy was very powerful, very strong, and he had this incredible capacity of healing, no? Okay? So in that sense, many people said Lama Gangchen is like an emanation of Vajrapani, yeah? In this life and many other lives, going back to Panchen Zanpo Tashi, yeah? Okay. Please, Nunela.
The Tantras of Vajrapani. There are three main Vajrapani Tantras, the root, explanatory, and continuation Tantra, as well as the Bhuttadhamara taming of the elements Tantra and the powerful Vajravidarana Tantra. This last Tantra was revealed by Vajrapani to King Ajatashatru. Ajatashatru, who, had killed his father, King Bimbisara, in a very brutal way to seize his throne. He was thereafter always known as a perverse heart. At that time, since many great non-virtuous actions such as these were being committed in the world, a great famine had arisen, and the four directional kings requested help from Buddha. The Buddha requested Vajrapani, who emanated in the form of Vidarana, who teach the 108 chapters of this Tantra.
Okay, this is a very famous story that Lama Gangchen used to tell a lot, yeah? Okay, so Siddhartha was a prince, yeah? Okay, so naturally he knew lots of kings, okay? Also before he was Buddha and after he was Buddha, so he had many kingly friends, okay? So King Bimbisara was the king of another neighboring kingdom, yeah? Okay? And actually he became a disciple of Buddha, okay? But his son, Ajatashatru, he was like very kind of aggressive, yeah, and he was like, Bimbisara was quite old, and he was kind of, you know, can't you die? And Bimbisara was never dying, yeah, because he wanted to become king. It happened many times in history. So what he did is he locked up his parents and then tortured his father to death, yeah, okay, in order to seize the kingdom, yeah, okay. That's happened like throughout history. Kings have done that to each other, yeah, okay. So then, okay, so Ajatashatru became the king of, I don't know where it was, Magadha or somewhere, okay? But then afterwards he did feel a bit guilty, yeah? So then Buddha sent Vajrapani and he taught, and so Rinpoche always said if Vajrapani had said to him, you're a terrible person, then Ajatashatru would have had like a heart attack, yeah, okay? But he couldn't accept his guilt, you know, for the horrible things that he'd done. So instead, Vajrapani, he taught the sutra called How to Kill Your Father and Your Mother, yeah? No, it's true, yeah? This is a real sutra, yeah? So it says, oh yes, we must kill our father, we must kill our mother. So then Ajatasatru's like, oh fantastic, I'm okay, you know? And then gradually start to understand that kill the father means we should get rid of our selfishness, and kill the mother means we should get rid of our self-grasping, our ignorance, yeah? Okay, so which means we should practice the Mahayana path, yeah? So this was a skillful means, yeah, for Ajatasattu to accept the Dharma, okay? So in the Tantras we have many of these things, yeah? Not to be taken literally, obviously. As Buddhists, we do not advocate killing our father, killing our mother, or many of the other things it says in the Tantras, yeah? But you have to understand it's a skillful means for the people it was talking to, yeah? So it's a bit like us, you know? For example, if Lama Gangchen had said, Dawn, you must give up smoking, Dawn would have run away. It's like that, yeah? So in fact, I remember Rinpoche saying to Dawn, please, Dawn, smoke more. That's very good. Here, have more cigarettes, yeah? Okay? And so on and so on. So actually, not just the Ajatasattu, also many of us, yeah? Rinpoche said, oh, very good, yes, you do this. And then maybe sometime later we understand something and then become more open to receive some more Dharma teaching, yeah? So it goes like that, no? Okay, yeah? Yeah? So anyway, so that's the story, yeah? Okay? Actually, Ajatasattu, okay, finally, I think he became an arhat or something, finally, yeah, okay? And he became a good guy, but, you know.
Tantra is divided into 4 different classes: action, performance, yoga, and highest yoga. In each of the different classes of Tantra, there are different forms or manifestations of Vajrapani. In this book, there is a short Vajrapani practice of Dharmabhadra, which is an action Tantra. Both the Mahachakra Vajrapani sadhana and the Vajrapani Tantric self-healing practice of Lama Gangchen are highest yoga Tantra practices.
So there's loads and loads of Vajrapani practices. I was looking at one collection called like Mitra Gatsa, yeah, which is something that Rinpoche wanted us to do, you know. And I think there's maybe like 20 or 30 different Vajrapani sadhanas in there, yeah, okay. Here we just have 2, yeah. 2 for us is enough, okay. Actually, we have 3 actually. We have Vajrapani, Hayagriva, Garuda, yeah, which since many, many years Rinpoche recommends us to do as a strong healing practice for the mind, also for strong kinds of sickness, yeah, okay. Then we have the Mahachakra, which is the highest Tantra form of Vajrapani, which, okay, slowly we need to get in touch with, yeah. And then in the Vajravali, we have something called Bhuta Dhammara, which means destroyer of Bhuta. Bhuta are like elemental spirits, yeah, okay. So us, we have 3 types, mainly 3, but there's many, many, many kinds of Vajrapani manifestation. And by the way, Guhya Samadja is also a Vajrapani manifestation, yeah? Okay, there's many, huh? Mm-hmm. It's an important practice, yeah, okay? Like I say, me, when I always remember in Kumpen Lama Gangchen, we have this huge Vajrapani, big black one that Duccio painted, huge, maybe 2.5 meters high, you know, in our Gumpa, no? In the Kumpen, no? So I always thought, this must be important, yeah? Because it's huge, yeah? Yeah? It's not like a small picture, it was like a huge picture, yeah? In our small, something like that, but black, yeah, okay? Yeah? Like a black with gold lines, yeah? Which somebody said now is in Kathmandu, in our Drupkang, yeah?
I see.
Yeah, it has moved there, apparently. Yeah? Anyway, so like that. So anyway, many, many beautiful practices, but okay, here, somebody said to me, Vajrapani is really long. Okay, so in our book, yes, there's very long thing, but there's also, if you look at the end, very short ones, yeah? But the long one means we show all the Lama Gangchen said long means beginner, short means expert, yeah? Yeah, we think it's the other way around, yeah? Okay? Mm-hmm. So then first put all the details, all the possibilities, and then you have a short sadhana and you adapt how you like, okay? So actually, it's not that long, yeah? Okay? Don't panic, yeah? We have Vajrapani self-healing, short. We have Vajrapani Hayagriva sadhana of Dharmabhadra, short. And we have the shortest possible version of the Mahachakra, so all short, okay? That's why you should get the book, because everything's inside, yeah? Okay? Okay? Please, Nunela, would you like to continue?
How Vajrapani appears in sacred art. In the ancient holy places of Tantric Buddhism, we can always find representations of Vajrapani. In the Swat Valley in Pakistan, the ancient kingdom of Dhyana, or land of Dakinis, we can find the earliest known images of Vajrapani. He is portrayed here as a crazy old man standing next to the Buddha, waving a stick that symbolizes a Vajra or a bolt of lightning. In the carvings on the Stupa Mandala of Borobudur, situated in central Java, Indonesia, we see Vajrapani represented as a beautiful young prince. In his hand, he holds the traditional Tantric Vajra with 5 spokes and is adorned with jewels and the 30 majors and 80 minor signs of enlightenment. The manifestations of these different aspects of Vajrapani are not connected to his physical characteristics, but the pure form of the Sambhogakaya enjoyment body that only spiritually evolved people can see. In Tibetan Buddhism, we normally see Vajrapani portrayed as a wrathful blue deity encircled with flames that burn through delusions.
Actually, Nuna Life, if you have the book, actually we put many different, like for example here, page 208, this is picture of peaceful Vajrapani, There's another of Ducho's paintings, in this book, actually, we put many different, forms of Vajrapani, wrathful and peaceful. There's also many peaceful forms of Vajrapani, Right at the beginning, page, just seen it, there's a picture of Borobudur, no? The Vajrapani there, Rinpoche always used to point that out to us,
The very beginning.
Where is it? Page
12.
Oh, yes, okay, here, So those of you who've been to Borobudur, if you've ever been with us, we always stop there and pay homage to Vajrapani, this peaceful Vajrapani, okay? So you don't need to always look like that, to be strong, okay, there's many, many different healing versions of Vajrapani, okay, Sorry? Well, Vajrapani holds a Vajra. You see this on the front? This is the symbol of Vajrapani. Generally, if you see a prince holding this, then it looks like then he's a peaceful Vajrapani, Like Vajrapani means the holder of the Vajra, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Vajrapani is also considered to be a manifestation of supreme healer Akshobhya, and so represents the quality of a stable and compassionate mind, free of anger. Akshobhya transforms the anger and psychological difficulties that weaken us by helping us to awaken our personal power in a selfless way, making us physically and emotionally strong. The power of Vajrapani allows us to have a positive influence on others without manipulating them.
Rinpoche, Lama Gangchen used to say, all these wrathful deities, look wrathful, but inside full of love, full of kindness, full of empathy, full of compassion. You always used to say that, okay? So we look at these images and we think it represents anger, So Rinpoche always said these images are like a mirror showing our nature, okay? So why Vajrapani has a face like that? Because we have a face like that, So he's showing what we look like, So, but inside is completely full of love and compassion, but it's putting up a big mirror to us saying, look, if you continue to be angry, you will look very ugly. Mm-hmm. Basically, didn't he? He always said like this, no?
Vajrapani's symbol is a Vajra representing stability, which he holds high in one hand. This is a message that we always need to keep a stable energy in our hearts and minds. Vajrapani holds either a 5 or 9-point Vajra. The 5-point Vajra represents the wisdom of the 5 supreme healers, enlightened energies which eliminate the 5 main mental delusions, as well as the healing of our 5 solid organs, 5 sense organs, and 5 elements. The 9-point Vajra has a wrathful energy and has the power to cut through delusions like a thunderbolt. The energy of Vajrapani helps us realize our full human potential, developing a stable base for a healthy body and mind by gradually healing our ego and destroying the delusions that stops us from achieving enlightenment. Keeping the energy of Vajrapani after receiving the initiation is like having a valid insurance with which we can confront death and obtain a rebirth that allows us to continue on the spiritual path.
Okay, so 1 second, please, Nuna. So this, Vajrapani, holding a Vajra, So there's this is a 5-pointed Vajra. So in this one, the 5, 1 in the center, then 4 around is like the 5 supreme healers and the 5 mothers, Then the 9-pointed one, actually we use that in Yemen, Turkey, So then there's 8 around, so it's like more complete mandala actually, yeah, okay, yeah. Like 5 fathers, well, 5 fathers and 4 mothers, because the space is always kind of secret, yeah, okay? So it's showing like that, yeah, okay? Sometimes in Indonesia, sometimes the Vajras are like a little bit open, looks like the thunderbolt of Zeus, you know, in the ancient Roman and Greek museums, when he's Zeus, the thunder god, yeah? He's throwing his thunderbolt, yeah? So in Indonesia, they still had that kind of imagery, but later on it became like more closed, you know, these things, yeah?
Yeah, I thought Rinpoche one time said that the one with the spokes, the
Yeah.
open spokes, is
Yeah.
actually a wrathful dorje.
Yeah, that one like that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like a thunderbolt, yeah? Yeah, so, yes, okay. So there's this connotation of like, you know, thunderbolt, yeah, somehow, Vajra, even though Vajra actually means diamond, yeah? But it's going back to like these ancient thunder gods, you know, like, yeah? Back to the Vedic period, actually, so they believed, you know, in ancient cultures that the thunder was thrown down, no, by the gods, you know, didn't they? Yeah, okay. Yeah, like, so obviously like here in Albagnano, you know, here is where they make, around here, no, is where they make Frankenstein, you know, Mary Shelley, yeah. This lady that wrote Frankenstein, she stayed in a villa around here, you know.
I didn't know.
And then all this, you know, like we have these big electrical storms, like, yeah, very impressive, yeah, okay. So you can see where you got the idea from, you know, because like over the years, no, we had many electrical storms around here. Strong, yeah, okay. So this idea of like, you know, yeah, cutting through the delusion, you can see how they got the idea, no, okay, yeah, yeah.
During the Tantric self-healing practice, we imagine ourselves in the form of Vajrapani, larger than Mount Everest, with a blue body that is transparent like a rainbow. Our new size and image helps us to put our problems into perspective and shows us that they are just temporary difficulties. Our transparency helps us realize the emptiness of our ordinary sense of self, upon which we base our identity, creating many mental, emotional, and physical disorders. By transforming our ordinary self into Vajrapani and saying goodbye to our everyday difficulties, we gain a sense of liberation, bliss, and the power to confront any difficulty with happiness and compassion. More than this, Vajrapani's energy transforms our stone-like heart, hardened and toughened by negativity, into a precious pure diamond that represents the constant desire to benefit others. Bellissimo.
You know, so like, for example, when we visualize ourselves as Vajrapani, we're not little tiny nano Vajrapani, we're huge, big Vajrapani. Because like, for example, yeah, I was saying before, you know, like in the low rig, in Buddhist psychology, yeah, okay, so aversion means something happens that we don't like, we experience something we don't find pleasant, and then we develop aversion, yeah? And then we get obsessed with how horrible it is, yeah? And we get fixated with this idea that this is overwhelming, this is horrible, I don't like that person, blah, 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 and the mind goes like this, yeah, okay? So just, for example, okay, you can imagine like, okay, here's our little Buddhist center here, tiny little Buddhist center. Imagine you have 1 foot on Sacramonte di Gifa, one foot on Monte Cimolo, huge then. Okay, little problems, yeah? Or, I don't know, you're in São Paulo, you can put 1 foot on one side of the Sierra di, what's it called, Cantabria? Cantarera, on the other side there. Okay, of course, there's some difficulty, but we need to, like, stop thinking there's no solutions. We could get, like, blocked, yeah? Okay, yeah? We get overwhelmed, and then we can't do anything. So it's like change of perspective, yeah? Okay, yeah? Big feet, okay, yeah? So anyway, that immediately makes us feel better, you know, and puts things into perspective, yeah, okay?
Okay. Understanding what demons really are.
Okay, here we get to the controversial stuff, yeah? Everything so far so good, I think, yeah?
The fundamental and subtle level of mind, the clear light, is like pure crystal, but in cyclic existence, dense clouds of polluted and disturbed energies obscure this nature. Our very subtle mind is like a precious jewel hidden in a rubbish dump. In Tantra, these outer, inner, and secret polluted and disturbed energies are referred to in Buddhist and Tibetan cultures as demons. Generally, in Buddhism, demons define anything that obstructs our spiritual development and the attainment of enlightenment.
Okay, 1 second. Pause right here. So it's a symbol, okay? So anything that okay, ancient cultures, they have this idea, okay? Demons, yeah? But it's not, okay, it's not demons in the Western or Hindu sense, yeah? They're not stealing your soul. Remember, we haven't even got one in Buddhism, so yeah? You know, they can't steal our immortal soul because we haven't got one, yeah? Okay, yeah? No, so a big point of Buddhism, no soul, yeah? Okay? No, yeah. So it's not like how, you know, like on the horror film or anything like that. No, it's not like that. Yeah, it's a symbol. Okay, yeah, yeah. Not like The Exorcist, like all this, The Walking Dead. No, none of that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's say 99.999%. It's a symbol of our own, what's inside of us. Okay, before we start projecting our stuff, externalizing things, okay? Yeah. But it's a way in Indo-Tibetan Buddhism of explaining the mind and the chaos in the mind, okay?
Is it the law?
Okay, no, first let's read this and then we will.
Okay. On the gross and outer level, external demons are disturbances of the great natural elements manifesting as hailstorms, earthquakes, tornadoes, floods, and volcanic eruptions, malevolent celestial influences, and malevolent subtle or gross beings. There are many different types of external demons, such as the Devaputra messengers of delusions, who serve the god king Ishvara, the king of the highest realm of samsara, who jealously tries to prevent yogis and yoginis from escaping his personal territory of samsara by piercing their hearts with the 5 poison arrows of delusions.
Okay, so external interferences, okay, yes. Environmental problems are a big interference, because like I say, if our house is flooded or there's an earthquake or whatever, it's a problem, yeah, okay? We want to have, or if there's not enough food, not enough water, it's too hot, it's too cold, So we need to make peace with the environment, that's the first thing, yeah? Then, okay, yes, we can have like problems with the universe, okay? For that we have a whole series of like healing practice, like Kala Chakra and so on, at the beginning of self-healing too. We have many practices like Ayam Ram Lam Bam to synchronize ourselves with the universe and many others, yeah, okay? Then, okay, like I say, the actual external being is very little, yeah, but okay, we have this book called Lalita Vistara, Mahayana Sutra, yeah, which is Lama Gangchen like very much. It's represented on Borobudur, it's the first gallery, the life of the Buddha, right, okay? So there is showing, like from the, the Buddha's birth, yeah, is up to when he gets enlightened, yeah? So there it shows the confrontation with Mara, yeah, okay? So Mara is not like that with a trident. He's actually like super good-looking, handsome, attractive, yeah, okay, yeah? Because this is the thing, we're attached to suffering, yeah, okay, yeah? It's like, why we can't get out is because, we like it. We like, basically, I'm sorry to say, but, we like this, even though, it always causes problems. We're attached to this, what we know, yeah, okay? So in the Lalita Vistara, the Mara, yeah, okay, he says to the Buddha, you're not good enough to get enlightened, blah, 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 and Siddhartha says, actually, yes, I am, I am good enough, and he calls the earth goddess, and the earth goddess says, I've been watching you for many, many lifetimes, watching your spiritual progression, you are good enough to get enlightened, and then on the representation, actually we have this carved here on our road, yeah, okay? We need to do some walking tour. Now we're doing this nice tour of the temple. Another addition or separate tour would be the panels of between here and the temple, Lalita Vistara, a beautiful story, yeah? So there's one panel where handsome, gorgeous Mara is like, oh! When the Buddha says, actually, I am getting out of samsara, it's like, overcome with shock, yeah? But he's like Mr. Supermodel, yeah? Okay, Mr. Mara. It doesn't look like that, okay? Yeah, because we're attached to samsara, yeah? So he has these arrows, you know, and he shoots you with desire. That's why we can't get out of samsara, right? Because we desire this, that, the other, and we're completely stuck, not because of all our other delusions we can deal with, anger, pride, jealousy, but the problem is attachment, yeah? So Mara knows that, and he's always, a bit like Cupid, no? If you're showing signs of spiritual progress, okay, I'm massively attached to my house, my garden, I don't know, whatever it happens to be, you know, blah, 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 and then completely not getting out of samsara, you know, okay? Anyway, so it's not quite like we think, you know, okay? We should make one of those talks. We should. And now the other day I saw Francesca in here giving the tour. Also Roberta's doing it. I'm sure many other people, but so far I saw Roberta and Francesca. It's very nice, these tours, you know. But maybe we could do like a Lalita Vistara tour. That was Lama Gangchen idea, no? To put those panels, not just to walk past and never look, to somebody explain this. We have the book, no? This is the life of the Buddha, blah, 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 blah. So when you get to the temple, you already understood something of the Buddha's life, no? Yeah? Yeah? Sorry?
2 hours.
Yeah, but maybe do a separate tour, you know? I mean, obviously, yeah. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, yeah. Actually, Rinpoche wanted to put also on our terraces, he wanted to put the Gandavua and, you know, etc., etc. But so far we have Lalita Vistara, but all these things he leave for us to use, you know? Yeah? It's not just for the spider to live on, you know. Spider house, it should be for a lizard, spider and snake. Actually, it should be for us too, you know. You know, we don't need to go to Indonesia to enjoy these things. We'll bring here, but we need to look, no? Yeah. Everything is like in the palm of our hand, but we need to realize what we got, no? Okay. So Rinpoche kindly prepare everything for us, just need to use, no? Okay. Okay. So yes. If Mara sees any sign of you trying to get out of samsara, he will shoot you. It's like a myth, no? It's an archetype that he will shoot you with the arrows of desire, yeah? So it's like, this is, you know, like somebody was telling me, actually, somebody was asking me about this thing of like resistance, you know, okay? So, you know, we try and do something spiritual and then we get like this reaction. So we say this is a bit like Mara shooting us, yeah? It's a symbol, yeah? Because then we get, okay, I'm trying to be good, I'm trying to evolve, but then, and then it's like, no! I'll just go and do something else. We know very well what is this one. It's like the story of our life, isn't it, you know? 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and then, okay, I'm doing really well, whoops. Fallen down again, whoops, okay, never mind, get up, try again, yeah? So you can see, like, all these myths, they have, like, some emotional purpose, you know? I mean, whether there really is a Mara shooting you with his 5 arrows doesn't matter, but it's a symbol of, like, how we go along in our spiritual journey, isn't it, yeah? So you need to, like, dodge the arrows, you know, yeah? Yeah? Anyway, Nune, do you want to carry on, please? No?
On the subtle or inner level, inner demons, hindrances or obstacles give rise to the sicknesses and sufferings of body and mind. Mental poisons, daksum, ignorance, desire, anger, are hindrances keeping us trapped in confusion and reactivity. Negative emotions and mental disturbances cause us suffering by making us weak and sick. The contaminated aggregates, our body and mind, shaped by karma and ignorance, are hindrances because they act as the basis for suffering. They continually cause us difficulties as they deteriorate with age and become disturbed. Death, the obstacle that none of us want to face, interrupts us completing our spiritual practice. Unless we have trained in the tantras, death pushes us, according to our karmic imprints, into another samsaric rebirth.
Okay, so, yes. So, we need to try and, okay, it's like a symbol, okay? Yeah, because somehow symbols are easier for us to... Rinpoche used to say, you know, in Tantra they use a lot of images because it speaks directly to our subconscious, yeah? Because like our gross mind, okay, blah, 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 yes, but these images are more direct, you know, yeah? It touches our subconscious, so he said that, you know, why we use a lot of images in the Indo-Tibetan Buddhism is this reason, because it speaks directly to your subconscious without any further need of explanation, because your subconscious, our subconscious, understands all these things, yeah? Okay? So, okay, yes, karma, our actions and our delusions are the root of samsara, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, then, okay, yes, we have what we call contaminated aggregates. That means every normal person like us, when we take rebirth, yeah, okay? We take rebirth due to ignorance, and we're propelled by it's called throwing karma, yeah? That means, when you die, the strong emotion, it carries you and, chooses, let's say, the film for your next life out of the videoteca of your possibilities, yeah, okay, yeah? That's why it's important to have a positive mind. I mean, all the time, but especially in the last moment, okay, yeah? So, how to say, all of us have these, we have what's called appropriated aggregates. That means, okay, we die, yeah, okay? Then we're in the bardo, kind of confused, where can I go, and stuff like that. Then finally, we see, remember, we have many, many people who've been our parents in the past life. Actually, we have karma connection with a huge amount of people, yeah? But whether they're all available and together and whatever at that time, no, yeah? But finally, we see some people we have karma connection with, which could be many people, yeah? And then it says a fly attracted to meat, or an iron filing attracted to a magnet, yeah? We see our future parents making love, and then we, as Jung said, yeah, was it Freud, yeah? We develop, if you're a boy, you develop attraction for the mother and aversion for your mother, and if you're a girl, vice versa, you develop attraction for your father and aversion for the mother, yeah, okay, yeah? Yeah, yeah, yeah. This, I think Freud said this, okay? Catching up, no? Okay, yeah, yeah. So anyway, so we see our future parents making love, and then we feel mad at one of them and attracted to the other, then we dive in, and then diving into a swimming pool, dong, yeah, with not much water, yeah, knock ourselves out in the impact of being reborn, forget most of it, yeah, with, if you jump into a swimming pool, you get a big concussion, yeah, so we're born with a brain damage, basically, yeah, okay, yeah, sorry to say, but yeah, it's true, yeah. Yeah, we take rebirth like that as an emotionally disturbed yogurt, yeah, with brain damage, yeah, forgot most of it, yeah, and then, need to grow up, and Lama Gangchen always say, if you remember, he says, we're always worried about the suffering of dying, but he said the suffering of birth is much worse, because actually, he said, imagine, you remember, when we're teenage, and growing, it hurts now, doesn't it, your knees and things like that, but he said, imagine having to grow a head. He always used to say that. What would it be like to grow a head? Fortunately, we can't remember, yeah? But probably not very pleasant growing a head, I imagine. But fortunately, blacked it all out. Amnesia, so it's okay, I can't remember, yeah? Yeah? Forgot, yeah? Anyway, so we have appropriated aggregates. That means our body, we're like body snatchers. We stole from our parents, it means, yeah? Our aggregates, yeah? Okay? And we have to always remember the kindness of our parents. Many people think, oh, my parents never give me anything, and then I need to go to the psychotherapist and all this, yeah, okay. But our parents, they give us our body, and our mind comes from us, yeah, but our body, one very strong basis of enlightenment comes from our parents. So even if they only gave you €1 or nothing, doesn't matter, they gave you this, yeah. So thank you very much, Mama and Papa. And now I have my basis of enlightenment, okay? Without this, I can't grow, no? Yeah? And as Rinpoche used to say, we chose our parents. So if you have a problem with your parents, you chose it, yeah? Okay? You chose them, yeah? Okay? Yeah? Anyway, so another big interesting subject, yeah? Fourth, yeah? Yeah, in Buddhism, so interesting, no? We can save so much money on therapy. It's true, no? If we actually integrate these ideas, yeah? Yeah. Okay, anyway, so we have these, why we have contaminated aggregates until we have ignorance, everything we see is dualistic, so it's contaminated by ignorance, yeah? Okay, yeah?
So the subtle and very subtle negative forces that cause us harm. On a very subtle or secret level, anything that stops us from awakening and using our pure crystal clear light mind is a secret demon. Disturbed, polluted, shaking very subtle energy winds and elements are secret demons. Many times, secret demons look very attractive to us. Subduing and transforming these secret demons is essential if we want to reach enlightenment.
Okay, so this is like little more advanced level, yeah? Okay, again, it's a symbol, so... Okay, as we progress on the spiritual path, yeah, then, okay, there's many nice things to experience, many nice sensations and all that, but we can get fixated on them, you know, okay? And then get a little bit, like, sidetracked, yeah? So, for example, if you get like obsessed with the bliss of meditation, which may not be our case, thinking, what bliss? Yeah, but if you experience the bliss of meditation, you see people like, you know, blissing out for years, you know, okay? Then actually it becomes like an obstacle, you know, because you need to awaken from that and continue your path because you want to help the others, not just like, I'm having a good time. Yeah, that's a secret demon, yeah? I'm having a great time. I'm in bliss, yeah? So this is in the Bodhisattva vows. This is something we have to promise not to do, yeah? Okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Yeah. Or this is so interesting, whatever it might be, and then years and years and years are going by and we're not actually doing our practice. It's like a very interesting, but like a secret interference, no? Okay? Yeah? Yeah. So there's many different levels, no? So many things it's like an archetype showing us that, okay, you know, we need to pass many things to achieve enlightenment, show us how to do, no? Okay?
Okay. On the absolute truth level, when talking about demons, we must remember that ultimately all negative phenomena of the outer, inner, and secret worlds are created by our minds. We must therefore relate at all times to these hindrances as projections of our own inner negative and polluted energy. Only by being aware and taking responsibility for this can we subdue, heal, and transform these negative and disturbed energies, thus liberating us from the harm that follows us from life to life. A famous story tells that Milarepa, one of Tibet's greatest yogis, having found this cave completely full of spirits and demons, tried to get rid of them by reciting mantras and making wrathful visualizations. However, the spirits just laughed at him and refused to leave. He then began to meditate that they were just projections of his own subconscious, empty of inherent existence, and they all vanished into the thin air. Labeling an entity as positive or negative is completely subjective. Normally, we think of gods as pleasing, attractive beings that stir up feelings of joy and devotion, whereas we define demons as unpleasant, unattractive beings that create fear and dangerous situations. This kind of perception is actually a result of superstitious belief, because a pleasant and friendly being could turn out to be harmful and unfriendly, and a frightening being could be beneficial. In Tibetan psychology, we talk about ladre, god demons. This means everything is God and everything is demon. It just depends on how we perceive it. For example, one person enjoys sunny weather, whilst for another it creates suffering. Some people enjoy the taste of meat, whilst others detest it. Our perception of reality is strongly influenced by factors such as our health or the balance between the elements. An excess of bile humor causing hepatitis, for example, may alter our vision so much that we see things slightly yellow in color, and it can also provoke dreams of fire. If we have an accident and break a bone, the wind humor escapes from the channels in our bones, and we may suddenly find that lights and sounds become unbearably intense. In Chandrakirti's famous text, Guide to the Middle Way, there is a story of a god, a human, and a nature spirit who all sits on the riverbank looking at the river. The first, see flowing nectar, the second, water, and the third, sees blood and pus. Who is right?
Okay, this is there's many profound things in here, but this is a very interesting idea, you know, yeah? So, we, and if you look in the world, you know, the media, it's all like good, bad, dualistic, I'm right, you're wrong, yeah, okay, left, right, blah, 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 I'm right, everybody else is terrible, you know, you can see throughout the world all the polarization of politics, religion, and all this kind of stuff, yeah. So it's like, hang on, maybe we're exaggerating, yeah, okay. In fact, of course, we are exaggerating, and it's getting worse and worse, this, isn't it, like this, you can see in the politics and everything like that, no? So this idea of God ladre, divine or demonic, yeah, it's about subjectivity. So it's a very interesting way to look at things, because it's like, I'm right, you're wrong, let's have a war, you know, yeah, yeah. I'm right, you know, and you're all terrible, and you're all shamey, you're all ignorant, and that's what bad people act, isn't it, yeah? Mm-hmm. Like completely not accepting the other, not completely like very black and white, but reality is not like that, you know, okay? One thing that Lama Gangchen emphasized very much with his teachings on peace is this, that we need to see people, you know, see them as they are and have a dialogue with them, you know. So all this like boxes we put people into, left, right, east, west, I don't know, like all this label, yeah. Mm-hmm. We need to a little bit let go of this project label and just see what this person is actually saying, because we need to find some point in common and make a dialogue, you know. That was the idea in the spiritual forum, wasn't it? Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. To get beyond this, like, my truth is the only one, and you know, etc., because that's not been working for several thousand years. That view, you know. Okay, yeah. So, if you look at your own experience, yeah, whatever society you're in, whether it's little society like here or anywhere, all the time we're coming up against this, yeah. This one I agree, that one's terrible. And our mind is continuously projecting, this is good, this is bad, this is a god, this is a demon. Okay, it's, you know, symbol, right, yeah? So this concept of a spectrum of god-demon is very interesting, yeah? Yeah, like I say, depends, yeah? Like, tea is marvelous, tea is horrible. Who's right, yeah? Okay. Maybe coffee is delightful or coffee is horrible. It's all subjective, yeah? Yeah? Mm-hmm. You know? So, okay, of course, like in Buddhism, we do have standards of right and wrong. We should not harm. We have to practice ahimsa, non-violence. This is our ethical standard, yeah? But a lot of the other, like, judgments about other people, we would say, are actually like namtok, a projection, actually, you know, yeah? Your ethical value does not depend on many other things that people project on you. Like, for example, your ethical value doesn't depend on your personal life or your, as long as you're not harming anybody, yeah? Or how much money you have and all this kind of stuff, yeah? Okay, yeah? Yeah? So Buddhism has a much more clear way of looking at ethics, you know, yeah? Don't harm yourself, ahimsa, non-violence to yourself and others, yeah? Okay? Do everything you can benefit others, control your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha, okay? Simple, okay? Yeah? I think, you know, because of various, like, historical, cultural factors, I think people have such a, like, heavy baggage, you know, of, like, what they call ethics and stuff in the West, and they'll just, I don't know, feel guilty and not helpful, you know, yeah, okay? We need to always feel that we have Buddha nature, yeah? And we need to actually, if we're Buddhist, we should embrace Buddhist ethics, yeah? So we need to understand, what does it mean as a Buddhist? Okay, do not harm yourself and others, yeah? And like, for example, in Buddhism, I mean, please get married or whatever if you want, but it's not a sacrament, you know? It's just like, please enjoy if you like, you know? Yeah? Yeah? In other traditions, these are like very, very important indicators of your ethical value, right? Okay? Your personal life, your marriage status, and so on and so on. But in Buddhism, it's like, we didn't have a ceremony for those things, really. But, you know, nowadays people like, you know, so Lama Gangchen, they had some kind of wedding ceremony in Tibet, sort of, yeah. But now we definitely do, because obviously it's integrating with our culture, you know, yeah, yeah. So anyway, so yes, it's divine, and maybe somebody, like, I think this is divine, like very strong tea with milk, wonderful, marvelous. Maybe somebody else is like, who is right, me or them, you know? What do you say? Yes, absolutely. It's divine. I want more. I know somebody else is like, oh, that's so strong, that's horrible, how can you drink that? Yeah, because you're not English, that's why. It's all relative, yeah? Anyway, like I say, there is this famous example, yeah, the god, the demon, and the preta, the yidak, yeah, looking at looking at this, no? Okay. For the god, it's divine nectar, amrita of long life. For the human, it's water, and the ghost, it's pus and blood, horrible, yeah? And each one's right according to them, according to their experience, yeah? So we have to factor in subjectivity, yeah? Okay? So this is a very interesting concept. So, this, like, I'm right, you're wrong, yeah? We have to little bit, like, loosen this idea because we can see, like, all the wars in modern history, yeah, have been caused by this, And, I have to prove, that I'm right and I'm better than you, and if I've got an army, I'll fight you, and here's all the mess of modern history, isn't it, going back centuries, okay? Yeah. So this is not a good way. So this idea that, hang on, maybe we can talk subjectivity, maybe it's not such a bad idea, actually, So in Buddhism, we talk a lot about this namtok, this superstitious projection, yeah? It actually means something, But all these things, remember,
the mirror.
look at yourself, yeah? This is the one who's namtok, who's superstitious projection we need to talk about, yeah? Like they say in the West, no? They say, what is it, like, easier to see, what is it, a big...
La paglia nell'occhio del nemico che la trave nel nostro occhio.
Yeah, they say, like, it's easier to see a splinter in the eye of your enemy than, like, a big, what do you call it, a beam in your own eye, okay, yeah? Because, so easy to see there, easy to project, say, you are like this is what I habit now, so this needs to, yeah? These are called mirrors, these frames of the tankers, yeah? That means we're looking inside. Vajrapani is showing us, this is what we look like. We look ugly, yeah? Yeah, because we're angry, we have aversion, we have ignorance, yeah? So we look, yeah? But it's showing us inside we need to develop love, compassion, wisdom, power, yeah? Okay? So, Rinpoche suggests we get a little mirrors for many purposes, very useful as a symbol, actually, Also costs €1-2, everybody, accessible for everybody, yeah? Okay?
Maybe we don't like it.
Well, maybe if the show we don't like, but anyway. But this is where we have to look, is inside ourselves, isn't it? Yeah. Inside is where we find the answer, not outside. No. Okay.
Scusa, Lama. Are you going to explain the image of Vajrapani, which are all the symbols today or tomorrow? I don't know.
We will. Yeah. Let's have a look. For sure, it's in here. Yeah. Okay. What time is it now? It's 4:45. So, actually now, the idea is actually we take a little break, yeah? Okay, and afterwards, maybe
it's
here...
the first page, look.
Sorry, what?
After the cover.
Yeah, no, but there's a short sadhana of Vajrapani, yeah? Okay, so I thought it's very short, yeah? Okay. There's various ones, yeah? So I thought today what we can do is imagine Vajrapani in front of us, yeah? For that you don't need an initiation, by the way, yeah? Everybody can do, yeah? So, okay, we can do this one on page 153, short meditation of Vajrapani Hayagriva Garuda by Nuchul Dhammabhadra, very famous, important Lama in our tradition, yeah? So I thought after the break we could try a little bit, and then we'll also explain at that time the symbolism, okay? Then tomorrow, okay, we receive the initiation, then we can do the meditation in a different way, yeah? We can become Vajrapani, but today we just have like a, what do you call it, teaser, a try, yeah? A preview, yeah. There's Vajrapani in front. We have a go, no? Yeah, okay. We haven't got many of us have the initiation, of course, but many new people don't, so. Okay, so I thought maybe we now we need a little break, or it's too much, because also, me, if I'm in a class or something, at a certain point, just like, and it just washes over you, and whatever is there, you can't hear it anymore, yeah? So for that, I thought we'd take a little break, yeah? Okay? Yeah? And then we come back and we try the meditation together, okay? Yeah?
At what time?
Maybe, what do you think? Maybe we have to do like 15-minute break or something?
It's at 5.
Is the break at 5?
No, 15 minutes. Now it's 4:45, so we can come back at 5.
Yeah, we'll come back. Let's take a break now, and then we have tea, coffee, whatever, Incense puja, whatever you like, yeah? As Rinpoche used to call it, yeah? Yeah? And then we come back and we try to do the practice together, okay? With Vajrapani in front, okay?
Perfetto.
Ok, Nimo delle sendele, Nime kuyan delle shi, Niseta tu delle pe, Kuncho sungi jingilo, Kuncho sungi nodrus, Kuncho sungi tashisho. All'alba, al tramonto, di notte durante il giorno, possano i tre gioielli concederci le loro benedizioni, possano aiutarci ad ottenere tutte le realizzazioni e cospargere il sentiero della nostra vita con molti segni di buon auspicio. Thank you. See you in 15-20 minutes.
Perfetto, grazie.